I'm Bob Spinozzi, and with co-host Barbara McRae, we welcome you to Small Town. Today, Barbara and I will focus on the business and the hobby of photography. You know that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Well, think about it. A picture can tell a story just as well as any number of written words can. That picture can capture a moment in time or provide a flashback to a treasured memory or event. And for our two guests today, pictures conjure up a lot more meaning than that. Littleton residents Jim Donnelly and David Whitcomb are both photographers who have an eye for things that, for many of us, are, well, out of the picture. Barbara and I are happy to have both Jim and David here in the studio with us to talk about photography. Barbara?
Well, I just want to say that I have seen the work of both of these men, and it's really great. I feel honored that they can be here today to talk about their hobby and their business with us and with everyone out there. So I know that you have seen these calendars that David Whitcomb makes for the Historical Society, and they really are beautiful. The photography that he does, fantastic. And then we have Jim's wonderful cards that he makes, and also we see him at a lot of events that we have because we kind of expect him to be there to take those wonderful pictures that we see later.
Jim covers all the events.
Yeah. So we can start with maybe David and see, we kind of wanted to know a little bit about, okay, what got you started taking pictures of birds and animals?
Well, part of it's my background growing up on the farm. Photography was almost from the cradle. My parents always took pictures, especially my mother. She had a box camera, like one on the table here. And she also had that bellows kind that comes out on some kind of contraption. And you look down, and anyhow, the pictures managed to come out. And when I was a kid, we always had in the living room, underneath a little glass cabinet, 2 drawers full of pictures, all black and white, all about this big. And I remember going through them time and time again, trying to figure out who was who and what was what and what relative it was or where the picture had been taken. And then from there, in my teens and 20s, I went into the Army. I started carrying an Instamatic and generated a tremendous number of pictures that I'm just now going through again. My daughter's had them for several years. She's gone through them, and I'm going through them again. And it is a trip down memory lane. It's just fantastic. And it's also a kind of a memory course on Littleton, because I took a lot of pictures of the Common, say in 1965 or 72, and the changes taking place there. So it's been ongoing. But when I retired, that's when I really got serious and decided, well, I really want to take some good pictures. I enjoy it. I love my nature. Sandy and I both together wanted to do it, so we got 2 decent Canon cameras, point and shoot type actually, not the SLRs. But it was all we could handle at the time. And they take a decent picture for me. And from there, we've generated probably another 40,000 images in the past few years.
And I know you take a lot of pictures for the Historical Society, and I want to get that in a couple of minutes. But Jim, why don't you tell us how you got started?
Well, I got started. I grew up in Dorchester. I'm a city kid, and we didn't have the farm to work on. But my parents, my mother especially, took a lot of photos. And the first camera I ever owned was a Brownie. And it's funny because I used it a lot. My mother's kept on doing it. I didn't realize how many pictures she had actually taken until she died. And we got to Dad's house one day, and in the trash, the barrels, here was all photo albums. So I took all the photo albums out, and since over the last 15 years, I've been scanning all the black and whites and reprocessing them to make them look good in digital format. Then I started taking pictures seriously when I went into high school. When was that? I don't know, a few years ago. and get into the industry. I worked in the printing industry to begin with, and I graduated. Then I went into the advertising agency. And at the advertising agency, I worked in the art studio, and I primarily took a lot of photos for the company's parties. And that's when I bought my first SLRS, and it was bound to be digital after that. And here I am, 15 years later, retired. I still do a lot of photography every day if I can get there. But
And not just around here. I understand you've gone to Plum Island, other locations.
yes, I go to Plum Island. I go up to the Merrimack River. We found an eagle's nest in the Merrimack River, and for 4 years we've been going up there photographing the eagles. I just might have one. Yeah, there's the nest and the mother and father from last year, and we shoot owls. I have hummingbirds in my backyard, so I sit there by the hour just in my kitchen with a cup of coffee, camera on the tripod, just enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that David probably does the same thing
Yes.
every day. I think you get the disease or whatever you want to call it as far as that goes. You want to see these pictures taken, and you take it. Can you show us that camera right there? You mentioned that I'm kind of looking at this laughing how cameras have changed over the years.
Oh, yes. This I just bought this, like 4 months ago. It's the latest one out from Canon. It's 7D Mark II. It has every bell and whistle you could think of. It takes 11 shots a second. And that's the way you can just freeze the wings in a hummingbird. I'll catch the eagles flying in.
And the two of us were, I think, looking at this one last week. I think this is produced in 1930 to commemorate the 50th anniversary
Right.
of Kodak?
Yes.
Is it Kodak?
Yeah, and in fact, I hate to admit it, but it was my camera when I was younger. When I was a kid.
And things go full circle because some of the earliest Kodaks, the little
Yeah.
black box, you took the pictures, the film stayed in the camera, and you mailed it back to Kodak. And they processed it, put a new roll in there for you, sent the camera back along with the pictures. This was way, way early. Now, we've gotten away from film pretty much, but there are a couple of companies, you can go down to CVS and buy a camera. It's a throwaway. And the principle is basically the same. You take the pictures, you send the thing somewhere, and back come the pictures. So 80 years later, we're kind of doing the same thing.
Now, speaking of pictures, I mentioned earlier that right now you're taking pictures for the Historical Society.
Yes.
The things that are related to the Historical Society.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, aside from the calendars, that's usually nature pictures or old houses, whatnot. We have a number of things going on. We're the tenants in the Houghton Municipal Building as the Littleton Historical Society, and we're the caretakers, take care of things. So there's always a lot going on. There might be something needs to be done on the furnace. We rebuilt replaced the roof with new slate. We did landscaping out front recently. They put in a new septic system that runs now from the fire station across to the Houghton building and then all the way up King Street to Shattuck Street, which is it's one of those very tiny pipes that's bored into the ground. Very simple application. And I've documented all of the work that's been done so that if a question comes up, we did some new perimeter drainage to help with the roof and water penetration, that sort of thing. So all these things are documented, they're on file, and we have had occasion to go back and look at some of those pictures of as the roof was being replaced, what were they doing, how were they doing it, what methods, that sort of thing, to answer questions. So it's a very helpful tool just down there at the Historical Society.
You have a trail documenting the
Right.
whole thing.
This sounds like something that people should always do anyway with their home,
Yeah.
so that they have a document of things that are valuable and they can always look at it. But David, you were talking to David about some pictures that he had taken that you were interested in
Well,
seeing.
you spent an awful lot of time capturing some pictures on a red fox behind the Depot Post Office, I
Yeah,
believe.
a family of 6.
How many days,
Excellent.
hours, again, did you devote to?
This was 10 weeks.
10
Let me get it
weeks.
Right here. 10 weeks back in the spring and summer of 2009. And this is our sweetheart. Sandy and I fell in love with this guy. Girl. She's the mummy, the vixen. And she and Daddy had 6 kids in the field directly behind the Depot Post Office. And then, as red fox often do, they move their family for safety. People get to know where they are. So they moved across into the valley across from Sanderson's farmhouse. And then finally they moved one more time out in behind the big red barn at Sanderson's, just inside the tree line. And we documented, chronicled, whatever, that family as it went from from 6 to 4. They lost 2 kids in over a 10-week period. Day, morning, noon, afternoon, evening. We noticed one time Sandy had been somewhere and had perfume on. And we stopped in to see how things were going. We went out into the field and walked part way down. We never tried to intrude too much. And wouldn't have a thing to do with us. That was the perfume. And they're very, very sensitive. And they're hunting their nose, their eyes, their ears, how they triangulate to find mice and critters out in the field. It's just amazing. We wrote down a lot of things that we saw and observed, and the family interaction, the way they operated and hunted and fed and ate and whatnot. And then after 5 or 6 weeks, I stumbled across a book that an Englishman had written about red fox, and it had been his life. And as we read it, chapter by chapter by chapter, he confirms what we were observing, seeing, and he answered many questions. Why were they doing that? So it was just a tremendous education experience all the way through.
Jim, you took pictures for the entire tercentennial
Yes.
celebration, all the different events. Get to that in a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about one picture in particular. You took a group picture of our 300th anniversary of all the folks who were present during the 250th
Correct.
anniversary in 1964. And we weren't able to identify.
Well, there's 3 people in the last row, the back row, that they haven't been able to identify yet. We know they were alive and kicking that day.
Sir, we can start a contest on this.
Yeah, I think so. Some sort.
Yeah, but yeah, there was 80 people there. My wife was included because she was in that class also, her and her sister. And it was quite a chore. Now, Maureen helps me a lot when I do photos like that. So she's up there making people, move over here, move over there. If you're in a group and you're in the back, you can see the photographer even if your face is hiding. If you can see with one eye, someone's head can be right in your face. And the camera doesn't see that. So you have to be looking at the cameraman with your whole head. So she moved people around, sat people, and we have a shot over there framed. And it came out wonderful. I brought my chair, so I'm up on the step ladder, and I have my wide-angle lens on, in my bush hat because it was like 92 degrees that day. And we got the shot, and they come out very nice, and I have them framed, and it was just one in a million. But I've taken the picture to the library, and the girls there know everybody. Well, they just can't remember these, identify these three, unless they're crashes.
They might have been from another town. Exactly. Yeah.
I have no idea. I wasn't around then.
Well, we're going to have to show that picture and see if anybody out there knows who they are.
Yeah.
Even if they were crashers, maybe they knew them from
Well, I
someplace.
have the feeling it's being shown right now, and if anyone has an inkling.
Of course, we also probably need to identify the people that you need identified.
I have a list of everybody that's in the picture, and it's all typed out, ready to be mounted with the photo. But these three people in the bar, Susie question mark, Harry question mark, and we could really need some help to that, because you can't put it up if you can't, they wouldn't even put it into the paper without all the names.
Oh, great.
Maybe
All those names and 3 names they didn't have, so.
Correct. I think we did get around it, but I can't remember if it made the...
I would have put some fake names in there, I think.
There's Barbara, there's Barbara.
just do Corey.
It'll work. That'll work for sure.
Mark Corey is one of them. So.
Are you familiar? Have you actually used any of the cameras in front of us here right now?
I've used the larger box camera.
Right here.
The black one?
Actually,
This one.
Yeah. Long time ago. Oh, I remember the little lever on the sides, which is the shutter. And you, and the winder, that's
you
exactly
wind.
it. I do remember it. I don't remember much more about it as far as how the film came out. I just totally don't remember. I do remember using 2 or 3 different Polaroids.
Yeah.
And they were basically terrible, but you got an image for a while, you can enjoy it. It was good at a cookout. That's the way I looked at it anyhow. And then eventually, if you left them out in the light too long, they just went away. So, and then mostly as I said, I started with an Instamatic back as a teenager and went from there. But
Barbara, I noticed you take quite a few pictures with your telephone. What's your opinion on the quality of pictures from the phone?
Well, the quality's getting better. I have an iPhone, and the photos are getting a lot better. They're putting us poor photographers out of business, but they will never compare to, a professional camera, and they know that. But for instant gratification, they take a picture and they send it right into Facebook, and whether they can identify the people or not, you don't know who it is. Oh, it's out of focus. Well, it's a wonderful picture. Yeah, okay. So when I post photos on Facebook, they've been photoshopped and they look perfect, but that's my opinion of the cameras.
Do you have an
Telephones.
opinion?
just about the same. It's a inexpensive convenience. Hopefully, even though it does hurt people that really like to take serious photographs, it might open things up to some people and get them interested in real photography down the road. They might see what they've done, look back at it 3 or 4 years from now and say, maybe I should get a camera and really try to take decent images. So hopefully in that respect.
Yeah.
But
No, I know.
it amazes me how, in spite of that little thing, how decent a picture they can take, if it's done right.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I use my telephone a lot. I babysit a lot, and it's always in my pocket. No, you throw it on video. You can get your granddaughter swinging, playing, or digging sand. And for my personal enjoyment, it's great, you know. Now, I was talking about the hummingbirds. Now, my camera can go do video also. So I'll set it up on the tripod, hit the video, and just sit back there and enjoy it later on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that those are one of the things that you want to do. When you start taking pictures, all of a sudden you also want to add video. Yeah, so it's probably good to... I have, in my case, I have the video camera, and then I have the camera. But now I found out that I use the iPad for everything.
I know. Excuse me, Jim.
Yeah.
Click.
You're in my way.
Yeah, you're in my way.
But I do. I have that with me, like my telephone. And I end up using it all the time for everything. Video, still, even selfies you can do with your iPad. Also, I've been using it to talk to friends that live in other states too, you know, so we can talk to each other, see each other. But I think that people, like young people too, should take more pictures and look around at things that are happening around. We're so busy doing this little thing now that we're missing what's happening around us. And what's happening around us is what these guys are doing. You know, the pictures of the birds and the animals and events that are happening.
Yeah, we got
I mean, you have some beautiful cards here. This one is of the clock that was just put on the Common. I think that is a beautiful card. And of course, I've seen all your work, and I think all your work is great anyway.
Thank you.
But, you know, look away from our texting a little bit and look around and see what's out there. And a lot of the birds and hummingbirds or fox or whatever, I think they're really beautiful, and they're doing things that you're going to miss. We see that all the time.
I enjoy chronicling the changes taking place around Littleton.
Oh, yeah.
And they've been taking place since 1714, actually. But
Right.
just this summer alone, a house came down right next to the Shell station. A couple of houses came down on Goldsmith Street. 3 new houses went up in their place. A house went down on Park Drive, 27 Park Drive. And a new house, I don't know if it's any better looking, was built in its place. We've been exhibiting the Long Lake development from 1925 at the Historical Society this year. And we've taken a number of pictures of new structures, and we have the old pictures from many years ago, so we have a good then and now. And it gives you a chance to keep pace with the things that are constantly changing in town. Old things coming down, new things coming up, changing, modification, that sort.
But it really pieces together the history.
Yes.
It really does, like that great thing that you have going on in the Historical Society right now in the history of Long Lake.
Yeah. And we have files, we have 2 huge file drawers, cabinet drawers of black and white pictures from the earliest times. Most of them from the 1880s, 90s, on into the 1920s. Just subjects all over town. And what we finally file them by street to keep it all straight. And we have a big 2-section on Great Road. And now that we have so much going on Great Road, we may need a 3rd file. Who knows? But, you know, as the Cooper Farm comes along and the 40B is coming, the Point, the storage facility, the Long Store. This is all in the past 2 or 3 years. This is not a long, drawn-out thing.
And actually, Jim, by your photographs, you're documenting a lot that's happening around here. Maybe, maybe not so much a house, but the activities and the people that are involved in it. And
Memorial Day Parade is a big one.
Yes.
That's always a big one in the town. I'm the official photographer for the Council of Aging.
I
so
know.
every time they have a function, like they had a barbecue last week with one of the state reps and councilmen, and you know, that's what I do. I take the, make a CD, I give it to the director, and she can do with what she liked. She puts them, you know, she has a pile of them like this now.
Right, right.
But it's keeps me involved, and being retired, it's, you know, go get a meal.
Yeah. I was curious, and Bob, I think you're curious too, about the time. What is the longest time that you've spent on a picture? I mean, like waiting for...
A sunset, or I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I think the longest time it took to get a decent picture was with the 80 people at the at the picnic. You know, because someone wants to look this way and that way and another way. But I have sat for 4 hours at the Eagle Nest and waiting for Mom or Dad to bring in a fish for the young ones, and that's okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I think, any final thoughts?
I think that really people ought to think about getting themselves a little camera and going out there and looking for things and taking pictures for a change. You know,
Yes.
There's a lot going on around us, and it's time to document that.
So thank you for being with us.
It's been a pleasure, and
Thank
thank
you
you for
so much.
inviting us to
Yeah.
join you today.
Yeah.
And
Very good time.
Barbara and I gave it our best shot. We'll try co-hosting another time on Small Town. Thank you for watching.